So we got some gaming news. Ghost of Tsushima has been selling extraordinarily well still. It's doing excellent. But while we have good news that we're going to get into, we also have some clown news. Because, of course, you can't have the good news without some game journalist clowns jumping in there to have to say that, oh, well, we demand Sucker Punch bends the knee to our will. Of course. Because game journalists, they're not really journalists. They're just a bunch of frauds. Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today. And if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So, first things first, Ghost of Tsushima is selling extremely well. Ghost of Tsushima is the fastest selling new title ever on the PS4. And as we've seen, Ghost of Tsushima is doing fantastic. I mean, it's been selling like hotcakes. And, the other cool thing is it's loved around the world. People really enjoy this game. Japan really enjoys this game as well. And seeing how well it already did within the first 3 days of sales globally, it has sold 2.4 million units. Now, that was just within the first 3 days. And let me just remind you, everything's either been a remake, or it's been a sequel. Because, you had Last of Us Part 2, which is trash. You had Resident Evil 3, which is a remake, and then you had Final Fantasy 7, which is a remake. So for this to be a original title that's not a remake or a sequel, that's really good. That's very good for, a start of an original game. Ghost of Tsushima enjoys solid second week sales in Japan, but can't stand up to Nintendo Switch surge. So it's still doing very well, even within the second week. And as we can see here, after having topped the Japanese software charts at launch, Ghost of Tsushima has been forced from its throne by the seemingly unstoppable Animal Crossing New Horizons. Still, the PlayStation 4 exclusive has maintained a steady momentum, selling an additional 53,000 copies. It's the kind of drop that we expect to see from non-Nintendo Switch titles these days, but there's no denying that Ghost of Tsushima has done well for itself, considering that it is hit with stock shortages in Japan, which, yeah, they're actually selling out. People are having to buy it virtually. They've been telling people they have to buy it virtually. That's how loved it actually is over in Japan. And Yakuza director has actually stated himself that he really likes this game. So, the Yakuza games, they're really good. I've played them. I'm a fan of them. Very enjoyable. Highly recommend them. And he's giving praise to them. So, that is very good. So, as we've seen, it has done monumental. I mean, of course, now when it comes to game journalists, though, game journalists, obviously, while some of them have been giving it pretty decent scores, of course, some of them have been a bit critical, but when you look at it, they have actually still got a pretty positive score at 83, and it's pretty crazy. But, of course, they're never going to say that it's as good as The Last of Us Part 2, because, that's a masterpiece. 10 out of 10. Yeah, more like trash. But, think of it as that this game has been doing very, very well. But, of course, what are the game journalists doing? Oh, they're now screaming about how Ghost of Tsushima 2 has a clear hero in waiting, a legendary woman samurai. Like I said, when you get the good news, you also get the clown news, which, of course, game journalists, well, they're always spewing nonsense, of course. So, now, while I don't mind a female lead, because there have been plenty of games I've played that have had good female leads, think of it is that game journalists want it more for their agenda. That's the thing that they want it for. They don't want it in terms of actually being a real woman samurai. They want the lead to be a woman samurai to fight misogyny and sexism. That's what they want it to be about. It's not really about having a female lead to, have a female lead. It's about their agenda, their narrative, as we have seen multiple times with game journalists, because they're not really game journalists. They're not gamers. They're just hacks. They're just activists. So I've had to edit out some of this article because there are spoilers. They don't even give you a spoiler warning, by the way. So I've had to edit out some of this. So we're just going to talk about this without the spoilers. So here's the points that they made here. It seems like a done deal that Sucker Punch will make a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, a hit by every metric, a fast-selling new IP beloved by fans who are comfortable proclaiming it one of PS4's best games of the generation. Looks like they had a bit of grammar failure there because it's supposed to be its, like proclaiming it's one of instead of proclaiming it one of. Oh boy. This is why you always go back over what you type to make sure you don't make a typo. Which, considering its competition, is a significant statement. But that raises the question, what would Ghost of Tsushima 2 look like? Well, first of all, it probably wouldn't be called that. Tsushima's story seems over, so we would probably move on to a new island and the title would change as a result. Ghost of Japan would open up the scale quite a bit, but there are a zillion small and large islands in Japan to choose from. Ghost of Amakusa, Ghost of Toshima, Ghost of Notojima, it's a long list. And so then, of course, the article continues here. But there's more to the story. As I was writing this post, I learned that Tomoe is apparently inspired by a real person in Japanese samurai history, Tomoe Gozen. While her bandit backstory doesn't appear to be the same, she did end up being a famous samurai warrior, which should shut everyone up about girls can't be samurai. Who said that? Whoever said, first off, that girls couldn't be samurai. Whoever stated that, because I don't remember anyone making the argument at all that females couldn't be samurai. So where did this come from? That's the first thing. I don't remember that ever being mentioned by anyone, that females couldn't be samurai. Which I know would come up if a woman led a new game. No, it wouldn't. People would actually be okay with it. There's not a single person that would have a problem with a female character being a samurai in a game. I don't think anybody would have a problem with that. Here's how Tomoe was described in the tale of the Heike, written in the 14th century. Tomoe was especially beautiful, with white skin, long hair, and charming features. She was also a remarkably strong archer, and as a swordswoman, she was a warrior worth 1,000, ready to confront a demon or a god mounted or on foot. She handled unbroken horses with superb skill. She rode unscathed down perilous descents. Whenever a battle was imminent, Yoshinaka sent her out as his first captain, equipped with strong armor, an oversized sword, and a mighty bow, and she performed more deeds of valor than any of his other warriors. Yeah, that sounds like someone who should be leading a samurai video game, right? Absolutely. I was already sold on Tomoe leading the sequel just from what I saw of her in this game itself. I had no idea about the real life history of Tomoe, the famous samurai warrior, so now I am 300% convinced this would be the right call. My Ghost sequel is no doubt many years away, but when it does arrive, I would not be surprised to see Tomoe leading it, and it would be well deserved. Now, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Thing is, though, is that game journalists want it to be about their agenda. It's all about the narrative to them. It's not about good storytelling. It's all about what agendas they can push. That's what game journalists see it as. And besides, there was One Bugeisha, which they were female martial artists, was a type of female warrior belonging to the Japanese nobility. These women engaged in battles alongside samurai, men mostly in times of need. They were members of the Bushi, samurai class, in feudal Japan, and were trained in the use of weapons to protect their household, family, and honor in times of war. So, there were female samurai. So I don't know where this game journalist was getting the idea of people saying that, oh, women can't be samurai. I have no idea where that thought came from. Long before the emergence of the renowned samurai class, Japanese fighters were highly trained to wield the sword and spear. Women learned to use naginata, kaiken, and the art of tanto jutsu in battle. Such training ensured protection in communities that lacked male fighters. One such woman, later known as Empress Jingo, used her skills to inspire economic and social change. She was recognized as the Ona Bugeisha, who led an invasion of Korea in 200 AD after her husband, Emperor Choai, hope I didn't butcher that. If I did, I apologize. The 14th Emperor of Japan was slain in battle. So you see, that's the thing. There were female samurai. But, thing is that we've been seeing these journalists go on for a long time. I mean, one of the greatest examples that I could think of was Star Wars Fallen Order, whenever they had the male character, and this is what they'd stated just within the intro to it, stating, Fallen Order could have had a female protagonist option. stating, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order suffers from a boring protagonist and some simple character choice would have gone a long way to fixing that. See, here's the thing. I have no problem with a female lead. In fact, that's fine. I like it. One of my favorite game series of all time is Metroid. Samus Aran is one of my favorite characters in fiction. Love her to death. Although Other M really screwed her character over. But we don't talk about Other M. But thing of it is that to these game journalists, it's not about telling a good story. It's not about making an entertaining game. It's about what agendas they can push. So with the female lead, of course, these game journalists are going to request that they fight misogyny and sexism. That's the kind of stuff they're going to do. They're not going to be there to say, oh, give us a good story or, an entertaining game. That's not what it is to them. It's about what agendas they can throw in there with that said lead character. That's what they're trying to do here. And they're trying to get Sucker Punch to bend the knee. When Sucker Punch, in my opinion, just tell the story you want to tell. Don't listen to these game journalists. And if you want a female samurai as your main character, go for it. Just do it with the story you want to tell. But anyways, let me know what you think about this entire situation down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here. And make sure you were still subscribed because YouTube is unsubscribing people from all their favorite channels. So make sure you were still subscribed to all your favorite channels. Hit the video with a like and also be sure to share the video on social media. Spread the word and get it out there. It's greatly appreciated and it really helps out the channel a lot. Also, be sure to follow me on Discord. We have a wonderful community there. Not only that, but it'll keep you up to date on when the news videos will be released, as well as any other upcoming events in the near future. So be sure to follow me on Discord. The link is in the description down below. But anyways, I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful and fantastic day today. And remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow could always be better. Take care of yourselves and everyone around you. And have yourselves a good one out there, everybody.